Welcome everybody to the podcast.
Is that empty? Did you just finish that?
I gotta get my Ireland.
Or do you have the cap on still?
Welcome to Ireland.
Oh God, Tom, you're really not down with the accents, man.
I know. My buddy at work was like, "Can you do like accents impersonations?" I was like, "Listen to the show and find out."
The answer is no.
This is no. I can give you a good like weird voice, but accents I can never get on par. They always seem to go into another accent. Welcome everybody to the show. Happy St. Patty's Day. This is pretty cool. This will be released on St. Patrick's Day. So that's pretty fucking awesome. And I am Tomcat, aka Tom Thompson. And who else do I have joining me here in the studio?
Well, today I'm not a reverend. I'm just that bitch kaiju. What's up?
That bitch.
I suppose.
Hey, what is that bitch?
Boy.
And our Irish resident,
Just has to be Irish boy, is it?
yeah.
Because he's an Irish boy.
Oh
Because
God.
he's
Wait,
an
how do we do
Irish boy.
Oh God, how do we do that in an Irish accent? No, I'm not even gonna try right now. It's unpracticed.
Boy.
I'm
So
gonna try and not tone down my accent for this episode and just talk like I normally would. And
That's
see.
the crack.
you're not gonna do your ASMR.
Like I try really hard sometimes to like pronounce shit differently. So and like enunciate better, but I'm just gonna talk like I would. if
I like
was
that. I want to
speaking.
know Irish slang. I want to know everything. Okay, I want to know it all.
Yeah. So
So we were talking about Proper 12 because that's what I'm drinking on for this episode. And both of you guys said you don't like it. I like it.
I have this
think it's
crazy strong booze that I'm drinking right now.
Oh, what is that?
Oh, sour patch.
Dude,
I love
Ghost.
Sour Patch.
It's so good. It's not booze, it's just an energy drink.
Oh, it's worse for you.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys ever heard of?
What's that?
Bulmers?
What kind is this?
Bulmers?
Have you ever heard of Magners?
No. It
No?
sounds like an Irish beer.
Yeah,
Harp,
it's
Guinness, Killian's. That's about it.
a
Is
cider.
Harp Irish?
I think so.
Mhm. Yep.
What is it? Because I want to get for the live special. I want to get, which will be out for everybody that listens to this or sees this. The live special would actually be wait, for the video aspect of it. The live special will be out tomorrow, and then on Thursday, and then for the audio listeners, it will already be out. Actually, no, wait, it'll be the same night. So just fucking figure that shit out. But I want to get some like, and me and Billy did that. We're like, hey, what beer is fucking German? When we did the Nazi episode, we're like, what beer is Irish? And all I could think of is fucking Guinness.
Wait, what do you mean what beer is German? St. Pauli's girl.
Don't have that. Don't know what that is.
You don't have St. Paul. You don't have St.
St.
Pauli's
Pauli's
girl?
girl? Is that a transgender saint?
God, I wish.
I don't know.
We don't have many saints.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll be able to find it because it's only released, and I know it sold out like super quick the other day. But McGregor actually has a new stout called Forged Stout, and
A beer?
apparently,
Pretty good.
it's gonna be like a rival for Guinness. There's a lot of
Oh,
like
weird.
they've had all those fucking, like beer and whatever YouTube dudes and all. They had them over at his pub in Dublin, the Black Forge Inn, and they had him taste the stout, and like 4 out of 5 preferred his one than they did Guinness.
That's a bold statement.
Yeah, weird.
I know, right? And it's meant to be really, really nice.
I'll have to give that a shot.
So you guys both don't like McGregor's
I
whiskey.
mean, it's all right.
I like it. I like the vanilla notes. It's actually like to me, I thought it was better than what I thought. And the same thing with the Snoop Dogg wine. I was like, oh, they just slapped their name on it. It's probably not that great.
No, 19 Crimes
Dogg-
is a decent wine.
Yeah, Snoop Dogg's wine is fucking great. It's
I haven't
really
tried the Martha's Shard yet, but the Snoop wine was good.
the Martha Shart.
Yeah, Shard.
It's Martha Stewart's shit in a box.
Martha Stewart's a fucking G.
Yeah, she is kind of G-ish. Aaron, so as an Irish person, since this is technically one of our St. Patty's Day specials, so to speak, since we do this every year. What is your favorite whiskey when it Irish whiskey?
You know what? I'm actually not that big of a fan. I would say a proper 12 if I had to pick everything, but if you don't have that shit chilled,
Yeah, I know.
tastes like fucking cat piss. It's
Do you like
horrible.
Kilbeggan?
Yeah, it's all right. I used to drink Jameson, but I'm not
Ask
a
whiskey.
massive
Ask.
whiskey
I was gonna say ask whiskey about Jameson. Ask Billy about Jameson.
How do we feel about Bushmills?
It's okay. You know what I hate?
I
Never
love
mind.
Bushmills. I've had the black label, which is fucking delicious.
Okay,
I gotta reblonde
let's get
my
into
hair.
this. Ready? All right, Anton, bring it in. What are we talking about?
Are you a witch? Are you a fairy? Are you a wife of Michael Cleary? I don't know why that went
Welcome,
way too
everybody.
Scottish.
Know what we're doing? We're talking about a woman, you know, a lady of the Irish descent that was burned alive.
We're talking about fucked up
Being
misogyny.
A fucking fairy. Anton, you think they're
Wow.
gonna try to burn alive you for being a fairy?
God, I hope so.
I was like thinking of what type of fairy joke I could bring in because even I was talking to Billy about shit. He's like, "Can we could still joke about the gay shit, right?" And I was like, "We can always joke about the gay stuff." Anton doesn't have a thin skin. He has a thick skin.
I got a thick ass. Actually, my ass isn't that thick. I wish.
I'm just in a good mood for this fucking episode. I'm fucking excited for the live special and everything that's going on. So, Aaron, you've never heard about this story, have you?
No, genuinely
Really?
never. Yeah, never heard of the story.
It's
Like
pretty
when-
fucking fascinating, actually.
When you said like the name Bridget Cleary, this is just tell you like how Ireland still is even in modern day. Like when I hear that name, I'm like, hey, doesn't she like live down the road?
Yeah.
Is there just like a pot
common
of fucking
name.
20 names y'all pick from?
Is that bitch down the street?
Kind of like, but that is one of those things where it's like,
How
shit,
many
I think
chicks
she
named
was-
Bridget in Ireland?
quite a few, but they're not like they would be all from like the age groups older than me. Like anyone
What
around
is-
my age.
What is Ireland's slutty names? You know, like we got Brittany and Stacy.
Is it Mary?
Ireland's slutty names. That's something I've actually never thought of. I would say Lisa is probably one.
That's my mother's name. Makes
I know
sense.
many sluts named Lisa.
Yeah, me too. My mother.
So that's just a global thing then.
Aaron, do you get offended when people do an Irish accent?
No, I don't give a fuck about it. Like when
Yeah.
people say like, "Oh, do you get offended when I used to go to Florida every year for Halloween Horror Nights? I used to bump into so many people and be like, "Wait, are you? Where's that accent from?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm from Ireland." And they're like, "Oh, you're actually like what generation?" I was like, "I was born and live in Ireland."
So
Like,
fucking
oh my
weird.
god, that's so cool and all. And they're like, "How come you're not drunk?" And like,
What?
a lot of people
That sounds
will
like
get,
some Florida bullshit. Yeah, Florida
yeah,
is
like,
the trash
a lot
can
of
of the
people get
South.
offended by that. I just kind of laugh and I'm like, all right, I don't give a fuck. Like whatever.
Fucking armpit of fucking.
We got
That's-
them kicked off us for fucking 800 years by the English, like, so I don't think that's really gonna. Even when people say shit like that, like they go like, "Oh, England, and all, how is that a touchy subject?" I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I was born 30 years ago.
Weird. Well, when it comes to the folklore of fairies, did you
Oh, wait,
grow
can you-
up with
can-
it?
Can you do a Canadian accent?
We've asked him to do this. I've asked him to.
I have no idea how to do a Canadian accent.
Just add O's
Mimic me.
unnecessarily.
Mimic what I'm saying.
Just say sorry and say a boot.
Here's the
Sorry.
thing, right? It's
Nobody
very,
says a
very
boot.
seldom-
That's a fucking bullshit.
You're a
Yeah.
filthy fucking liar. You all
it's
say a
very
boot.
s-
It's on your flag.
It's very seldom that I notice any difference between both your guys' accents.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, here's the thing. We're not very far away. And like I don't have a New York accent. Because when I was traveling and I would tell people where I was from, they're like, "Oh,
The
New
circus.
York. where's your accent? I'm like, oh, because I'm supposed to fucking talk like this. Like, oh, fuck you. Forget about it. Rah! Everywhere. I was like, bitch, we are Southern Canadian. I am closer to Toronto than I am to New York City. New York City is 8 hours away. Toronto is 45 minutes.
It is. I laughed with Anton the one day. But
Even Tommy Chong said we're Southern Canadian. He's like, oh, Buffalo? Yeah, you guys are Canadian. It's like, yeah, I know. You're not telling me anything I don't know.
It's so funny because, like, if you think about that, like, core of, like, you have Boston, and then you have, like, Jersey, and then you have, like, New York, and, like, all of them in that same place have all sorts of different accents. And the thing is, in Canada, other than the Newfies, and obviously the stupid fucking French, which nobody likes.
I love our fuck you, Tom. I love our French Canadian listeners. They like me. They don't like you.
It's fine. I don't care. They can all fucking burn in hell with Trudeau and his fucking love for them.
I love y'all. Montreal is fucking awesome. I've not been yet, but it looks sweet.
Quebec is awesome. It's a good party city, except when they look at me because I can't speak French and I'm Canadian. And I'm like, my teacher kicked me out of the class. I can't fucking help it. It's fine.
From my understanding, Montreal is the only place in the world where it is better to tell them you are American than Canadian.
As you were saying, Aaron?
I was just going to say you're a government plant. You're not a real Canadian. Like government shill.
You know what? If I wish I had the paycheck that our government gets, we're like, hey, can we get another bonus? All right, here's another fucking $1,000 million.
You heard it here first, folks. Tom has no scruples, and he will sell out at the moment, first fucking chance.
If they want me to plant disinformation into this show for like 10 grand a month,
they're going to make you completely change your stance on the vax.
So if they gave you 10 grand a month, would you get I love Trudeau tattooed on your chest?
He'd probably suck Trudeau's dick for 10 grand a month.
And like tell everybody how great
I don't think he has
is. And
I think he has a Kuwaiko.
Well, even if he has to put one on, even if it's a silicone
all
dick.
Right, we're not getting into this shit.
Right? No, right. What? Just before we move on, I just want to ask, right? How much money would it take per month for you to completely turn all your ideas 180?
What's but the then the show wouldn't like if it was like for the show. This mediocre show, if I hate saying
no, just in general, just in your whole life, like every time you refer to anything to do with the government or anything that you think now, you have to say the complete opposite of everything you believe.
Honestly, I probably wouldn't. As fucked up as that is, I don't value money as much as other people do.
You don't value the freedom that money would bring you?
Money.
I don't, though. Maybe if they were like, we'll give you an endless supply of mushrooms for the rest of your life.
If you have a fuckload of money, you can grow your own.
Crazy. Yeah, I know. Like money is the ability to buy freedom, and essentially, right? So it is tantalizing. Is that the word I want?
Titillating.
Titillating? Is that what it is? That was tantalizing.
It's probably both.
Aaron's on a fucking schedule, so let's get into this shit. On Thursday, March 14th. Oh, one day before Chelsea's birthday, where we're recording. That's fucking crazy.
Happy early birthday, Chelsea.
That this happened. 1895. Mary Kennedy bundled up to visit her 26-year-old niece, Bridget Cleary. It was a quick half-mile walk over the bridge and up the hill to the Cleary cottage at, I'm going to butcher it probably, Belly Vadili, of the country of Tipperary. Come on, Aaron. Tell me what that is.
Oh God, that was fucking brutal. Christ, that was fucking brutal. So okay. I don't know how to pronounce that. The town, Bally. I have no fucking idea.
But come on.
I genuinely don't. We have so many like obscure. Like there's a place not far from me called Bastards Town.
Bastards
Town.
Oh,
that's what it's called.
Okay. So true.
What did you say the second part was? County what?
Tipperary.
Very good. Actually. That was very good.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Tipperary.
Ireland.
Tipperary.
But as Kennedy approached the house that evening, she heard shouting. Anton, give me some Irish shouting.
Oh, you fucking ducks! I fucking come over there and give you one upside the fucking head.
Perfect. When she opened the door,
that was actually really good.
She saw 6 men holding Bridget to her bed. Are you Bodland, the wife of Michael Cleary, in the name of God? Michael yelled at his wife as 5 others, including 3 of the Kennedy's son and Bridget's own father, restrained her. Michael held a saucepan filled with fresh milk and herbs and forced his wife Bridget to swallow the bitter concoction. Again, he asked if this was his wife. She replied, in the God's name that she was, in the God's name that she was. But Michael was unconvinced. To him, the woman before him was not Bridget. She was an evil fatty, a changeling, and had been taking his wife's farm. And within 24 hours, he would kill her.
I'm getting real sick and tired of being called an evil fairy. I'm a mischievous fairy.
I don't think I've ever heard that accent on any part of the world.
Which accent? Which
I'm not
one?
sure where. The accents he was just doing there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what part of the world that's from, but I've never heard of it.
I think it's that weird little hidden reptilian island that he actually comes from.
Yeah, it probably is. The fuck Trudeau Island.
God damn it. I don't want to fucking edit any of this goddamn shit. Now I have to. Can you tell me when this is? 19 seconds. All right. Fucking raw cuts. Just because Chelsea was like, did Charlie get fed? And I was like, oh, whoops, no.
Twitch, you get raw cuts.
Twitch, you get raw cuts.
She was an evil fairy, a changeling that had taken his wife's form, and within the next 24 hours, he would kill her. Crazy. You are an evil fairy, aren't you, Anton?
I'm a mischievous fairy.
I like it.
I'm evil to some, I guess.
Okay, I got a question. Did you hear, like I said earlier, did you hear the folklore in your culture about fairies?
The fae folk?
Yeah. Did you hear it growing up, or have anyone or any people that talked about it?
Who?
You.
No,
I'm not saying
the
Irish
only Irish one out of the lot of us.
You completely froze there halfway through that. I heard something about folklore and then something.
Oh my god. Okay.
Did you grow up with the folklore of the fae folk, or was that like kind of old hat by the time you were born?
Yes and no. Fairies, not so much. Like obviously there was, you would have heard of them and there would have been some stories, but I remember being super young and like the idea of leprechauns was still like, as funny as that might sound.
Frightening.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
Yes. Can we do a commentary on that one day?
But that whole idea, like that was something that was like kind of sold to us as a kid, as like, well, if you ever do get to the end of the rainbow and you do happen to take the gold, that's the kind of shit that you're going to deal with. Leprechauns aren't like jolly and fun.
No, they're not.
Never mind the fact that a rainbow is a fucking ring.
And but other than that, probably the big one that I grew up with, and I would say many people from my age group, would have been the Banshee. Now, where I'm from, she's referred to as the Bow.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. The Banshee would have been the big thing, and I remember, like, if you ever seen a comb with any sort of broken teeth on it, they would say, like, if you pick that up, basically you're fucked.
Well, they would say, like, you shouldn't, if you hear maybe I don't know, some sort of music playing, you weren't supposed to follow it, especially if it was
Probably
in the woods. You weren't supposed to follow the music, or you might be taken away by the fatties. Or if you were supposed we couldn't cut down certain trees and all that stuff. And the weird thing is, I don't know if I've ever said this on the podcast before. My brother remember this. My grandmother was a huge fan of the Irish Rovers. She would tell us, and it's crazy. I feel like it must have been brought up on me and Billy's Leprechaun episode, but I don't know if it was because, we drink, we have fun. And my grandma scared me, so to speak. And she lived in one of those old people, like trailers. You know when old people go when they all live in fucking trailers? Everyone's like old, so like, they all treat each other.
A mobile home retirement community, yes.
Yeah. It's just like, and she told us this story about the black leprechauns, and not black in skin because that's so bad, but like the clergicon, essentially what me and Billy talked about, but like the bad leprechauns
Is that like a
that
drop bear in Australia?
would steal like your shit and like come in and like fuck with you and like do certain things to kind of be mischievous. And I remember her telling us this. Me and my brother were like sleeping on an air mattress when we were like pretty young. And like I remember thinking and believing I was like 9 or 10, maybe 8. And I remember thinking and having nightmares about this little person sitting in the window watching me. It's not fucked.
That's
I feel like
nuts.
I've more weird.
Yeah, I could see
folklore.
that though, and I kind of, I suppose, as a kid would have had a similar thing with that movie Darby O'Gill. I know it's not really meant to be that scary, but I remember being young and kind of there was always a part of me that was like, imagine if that motherfucker showed up in my house or like anywhere around me. How terrifying that would be.
Yeah. Some and not even like we're talking about the midget version of leprechauns from like the horror movie Leprechaun. I'm talking about what I thought when I was a kid before I even saw the movie Leprechaun was something that was like
Yeah, like a little
like an action figure size being.
Mhm.
And that scared the fuck out of me. It's crazy. I'm not even Irish. And I do think I have Irish ancestry from my grandmother, why she said this story and stuff like that to us. But I remember actually being frightened and like
Did you
staying up all night with the blankets over my fucking face, being like, is there a little person gonna come fucking attack me in the night?
to go back around to the point that we had before with the accents? Did you hear the or there? The end
Or
or
oi, oi, oi. So
I'm not.
So Michael murdered his wife, and it made international front
spoiler
page
alert.
news in 1895 in England. The case described in detail, supposedly these accounts in a number of books since, and all these different works that actually talked about what happened, including an Irish historian, Angela Brooke. The burning of Bridget Cleary was proof of Ireland's backward ways, a place where superstition ran rampant with fatal effects. But in Ireland, Bridget's murder spoke to something more sinister. What happened to a woman who stepped outside of society's expectations? That's what the crazy thing is. Do you know? I got a question. Do you know? Just to take a guess at how many doctors it would take to convince to make it to make your wife clinically insane. How many doctors would it take?
What?
0.
You could if you convinced if two doctors were convinced that your wife was insane or had some mental disability or just wasn't maybe listening to what you said or cooked your dinner the wrong way or burnt your food, 2 doctors it would take to get your wife thrown into a mental institution at
Yeah,
this time.
you could get them labeled as hysterical.
Sounds
Well,
like a great
back in the
idea.
1800s that you're talking about, that wasn't mental institution shit. That was like just
Torture.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. 2 doctors. And the thing is, at that time, right, you could just like pay a doctor. Be like,
Mhm.
hey, I'll throw you a couple extra shillings if that's what
Yeah,
they
but I
want.
think as well, like there was a lot of asylums and stuff throughout Ireland, and there's a lot of famous stories about like what went on in them. And there's a couple where majority of the patients were women, and it was just, I think we might have talked about this before, where dudes would just be like, "Yeah, she's a crazy bitch," and then like the doctor would be like, "Yes, she is a crazy bitch. Throw her in there, it's fine." And like everybody could just do this, or when you got sick of your wife, you'd be like, "Yeah, she's a mad bitch. Just get rid of her."
So then she's in a ward. Like you take care of the kids on your own, or you have a new wife, but then you go to the ward, the psych institution, or like it would have been like essentially like a prison for women that maybe dare to speak a word against their husband. And then she becomes a little toy
We
because
should
you
go
can go to
back
the
to
ward and be like,
or like that.
I can fuck her. Like she's just a sex object. In the opinion of what men would be like at that point, I'm sure that that's what it was. Do you guys not agree? Wouldn't you be like, she's my fuck toy
I would
now?
say, given the conditions of most of the mental asylums back then, you wouldn't want to get within 4 feet of any patient. She
Oh, 'cause
probably
they have
smelled like
syphilis?
fucking she probably reeked of just piss at
Old
that point.
potatoes. have all potatoes.
Who's it? Oh God, what is that accent? Jesus Christ!
It's that accent is from the attempt region of fuck all nothingness land, Berkshire.
Who's in favor of going back to a world where we can do that? Where if you get sick of your other half, you can just be like, "Yeah, she's a mad bitch. Just fuck her."
I don't. I see it. I don't think that.
I
That's
really.
my.
Chelsea is standing in the doorway with a gun pointed at him right now.
It's so bad.
As comedic bullshit, like it's fucking funny, but at the same time, no, I truly value the rights of women. I do.
Chelsea is standing in the corner with his balls in her purse, being like,
she's just got a cucumber and is just slowly chopping it.
It's
and
funny
not breaking eye contact the entire time.
I truly, we are primarily equal in our relationship. I actually have more power than what I should probably. So I do whatever I want when I want. If not, I probably will get yelled at.
"Well, long as she allows you to."
Isolating that sound clip right now.
I used to do that. I used to do whatever I want, whenever I want, so long as I was allowed.
Yeah, it's true. But the thing is, I still do what I want when I want. You know, look what happened to the last live special. All right, St. Patty's Day. I was wasted by 9:30. Couldn't even stand up.
Don't sit there and pretend that was intentional.
It was.
You accidentally got smash your face off a microphone, blackout drunk, and scared all of us.
And she probably body slammed you when you turned off.
She was like, "It's 9:30. How are you this drunk?" And I was like, "I tried to make my own whiskey sours, and it did not work."
Billy, your brother, Chelsea, and I were all just furiously texting each other back and forth. She was like, "What did he take?" I was like, "Just dumbass."
Did he take mushrooms?
He just took dipshit like usual.
So it's crazy. So there was supposedly because back then in the folklore and what was going on with Ireland and stuff like that is essentially what I've read and looked into. It was this kind of gap between like the paganism of the time and this folklore and this belief in fairies and stuff like that and the fairy folk and all this shit. And then the Protestants coming in and then, or Catholics mostly, but it's part of it, is like being like, you can't have a just civil society if you fucking idiots still believe in fairies. And then there's the drunk guy down the street like, "Hey, all right, I fucking saw a leprechaun."
God. It sounded like you said paganism, which was really funny.
I thought the same thing, and I was like, "Is that just when, like, your girl is wearing like a witch's cloak and just has on a big fucking honker and is going to town?" Because I gotta tell you, it's a belief I can get behind.
Superstition run rampant with fatal effects. But in Ireland, Bridget's murder spoke to the more sinister of what happened to women, like I said, of the outside society expectations. Born in 1869, Bridget Boland was intelligent, beautiful, and independent. Main word. In many ways, she was fit the definition of the late 19th century's new women, in quotations, says literature scholar Christine L. Bourne, who wrote about Cleary's murder and a women and abuse of power. Bridget was the dressmaker and a milliner. What's a milliner?
I believe she raised hens. So she raised hens and had her own dressmaking company.
It's like, shit, she's too independent.
And, well, she was partnered with her partner. And they didn't have kids. They had trouble conceiving.
A person who makes or sells women's hats. Oh, awesome. She makes hats. Nice. Also sold eggs, largely supported herself, which is like honestly, props to her. The Cleary stood out amongst their neighbors. Both Bridget and Michael were literate and relatively well off. It's like, oh shit, does that woman know how to read? It's like, oh shit, I'm pretty sure she's a fairy.
She's a mad bitch. Fuck her.
She's a mad bitch. Throw her in the house.
Look at these fuckers. While many lived in windowless, mud-walled houses.
That's no woman. That's H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah, I know. Nowadays, we don't know what a woman is.
It's been Stupid Uncle Corner with Tom.
Okay, giving someone the International Women's Award that wasn't a woman, I have issues with that. So
Thomas, once again, speaking for himself and speaking out of his asshole.
exactly.
I must literally be living under a rock because most of this stuff, when you guys have any of these conversations and anyone says anything to
Nobody
me about
knows
it,
about it but us.
I'm like, wait a sec, it's not even that I don't care or whatever. It's like, I haven't even, where have I been?
It's just Biden. Biden's administration is fucked up. Like much governments are.
He's the first president in my lifetime that cannot be compared to Hitler.
Because he's not as smart as him.
Still can't be compared to Hitler.
He can't even say.
No, he certainly cannot, but he cannot be compared to Hitler. So we're going to go ahead and give him that one at least.
So
he has passed a ton of really fucked up climate shit, though, and I'm not okay with that. Like, he is fucking the environment. He is fucking the environment harder than Trump did.
He's clearly a puppet. We don't need to talk about this. This is for a Patreon chat.
That's for a different episode.
But while many lived in this is weird. So windowless, mud-walled houses with thatch roofs. Was that a thing that happened in Ireland? You guys just built.
Fuck, Aaron. He is calling your culture weird. Tell him maple syrup is just moose cum.
There's a little seaside town not far from here called Kilmore, and there's still houses that get thatched every year. They get their roofs redone every year. Yeah.
How good are those for leaks? Do they ever spring?
And I look at it and I'm like, that to me, the idea of living somewhere, I think I'd sooner go to jail than live in something like that.
So what you're saying is it's not insulating at all.
It's not even that, but there is, and especially if you go to the west of Ireland, where I lived and all the east coast, I think a lot of it is more modernized. But if you go towards the west, it's still very, very old school Ireland. And a lot of people out there, a lot of the older generation out there are there's people living in complete isolation, a cottage fucking miles and miles and miles away from the next town. And the town might have 2 houses, a tiny post office, and maybe one store.
Wow.
I don't like that. Because you're the more I am, and the more I get into my conspiracy mindset,
into the government.
I just want to be away from control. My biggest thing my entire life, honestly, and if you guys knew me when I was younger, I hated authority. And that's why me and Anton get along, because we both did not like authority.
People I was diagnosed with oppositional defiance disorder pretty early on.
We both do not like authority or people telling us what to do, how to act, what to wear, what to look like. And that is a problem in our society. I do believe it's let people be who they want to be, including this woman at the time that was wow, she does everything independently. She's a fairy or a witch.
She just wanted to be a fucking bitch though, so I don't blame him. Just have to get in there with that one.
Listen, Michael, you're not pulling your fucking weight. I've got 3 jobs. You sit on your ass all day.
Gee, fucking okay.
Crazy bitch corner at the stake.
Okay, I want to get your impression of Anton's accent later on, because me and Billy both agreed we thought it was fairly good. So despite 8 years of marriage, the pair didn't have children, and in society at the time that would have been weird. They would have been why? Okay, you guys are educated. That's not a good thing in Ireland. And you guys don't have kids. You guys aren't keeping this idiot race. God, I'm just fucking kidding.
What does that say about Ireland when you get burnt at the stake for being able to read and write?
That happened everywhere, especially with women.
Fucking magic.
Yeah, well, with women, it's a woman stood up for her rights to not be abused by her fucking husband. It's you're a witch. But in Ireland, you'd be a fairy.
She signed a contract with the devil. It's the fucking newspaper, you cunt.
Definitely, they were different, says Harry O'Connell. This sounds like someone Irish. A psychiatrist who examined the case in the Irish Journal of Medical Science propaganda. They both had means. She was relatively independent, so that was unusual. Sorry, I'm gonna butcher.
Wow, I'm not sure where you're going. 1 minute I'm getting vibes of A Million Ways to Die in the West. Then I'm getting some weird other shit. I don't know. It's South Park.
Many neighbors considered Michael and Bridget's marriage a happy one. The pair had met 15 miles away from the place where they grew up. At the time, 18-year-old Bridget was a dressmaker apprentice, an unusual vocation for a girl of her age and modest means. Michael, then 27, fucking crazy back then. It was like mostly like a 10-year difference between spouses. A lot of, you know what I mean? You have guys 30 dating someone who's like 18, 19. Or getting married to them, like they knew each other for like 2 days, and be like, "You're my wife now." And he worked as a cooper. I don't know what that is. Constructing barrels and other goods. Is that they have to create barrels for all the whiskey they produce? Is that the goal?
We're just full of stereotypes today, aren't we?
Yes, it's the whole point of this episode. In August 1887, the couple married in a small stone Catholic church. They lived apart for much of the following year. Is that a thing in Irish tradition to like get married and then live apart?
Yeah, probably would have been at one point, like but then it kind of then it kind of like, I would say in my like grandparents' era, then it became like, you would live with your parents, and then when you would meet someone or whatever and decide to get married, they would like, it was like this weird, like they would give you to your husband.
Yes, yeah.
No, it wasn't like an
Did they
arranged.
offer a goat? I guess in Ireland it'd be like a
It wasn't like an arranged marriage or anything, but there was like a sense of being like, they're handing her off from the family home to her husband, kind of a thing.
Yeah. That's always a weird thing too, is like there's certain things where I'm like, like there's certain people like me and Anton probably like the person Matt Walsh, that guy that's super against all the bullshit or whatever, right? His fucking views on marriage are stupid. I agree with him on some other stuff, but like his views on marriage are fucking out the window. It's just crazy to like, because he's against gay marriage. I'm like, let people love each other.
So you understand that that's how they rope you fucks in, right? They say something that they're like, "Oh yeah, we know you agree with this," and then all that nasty little shit is right there.
Fucking views on marriage where he's like against gay marriage because the marriage of a unity should be a man and female because they got to procreate. I'm like, that is the stupidest shit I've ever fucking heard.
You know what? You know loves each other. No, you know where the biggest fucking like opponent to gay marriage came from? Is from fucking corporations not wanting to have to pay spousal benefits to more people. They already don't want to. I'm not kidding. That's one of the reasons it was blocked for so long in America, is because fucking corporations kept being like, dude, that's going to hurt our bottom line so bad. You can't let that happen. And they use the religious right to push that bullshit through.
I just think it's crazy is the idea of what like marriage is. And it's just like, if people love each other, just let them fucking get married because they want to have a partner. Like it's they like want someone to like share their lives with.
For all of our listeners that have seen the cartoon The Boondocks, it's like the granddad joke when he asks him about gay marriage. And he's like, well, first off, I believe all marriage is wrong.
Yeah, but because in the Catholic ideology, right? Like marriage was what I want to say. Marriage was created.
Catholic ideology. You're just bumming kids until Jesus comes back.
Yeah. And what I've researched, right? Like marriage was created so men could own women.
Duh!
That was the whole idea.
That's pretty cool.
But Tom, the patriarchy is a myth.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. It would be nice for a bit, if I could, but I want polygamy. I want like 5 wives. And then like, and you can do what you want with. I'm fucking kidding. You're
gonna turn into like some weird convoluted mixture of a Scientologist because of your reptilian shit, a Christian Scientist because of your naturalist shit, and a fucking Mormon with your polygamy.
Can I say one thing that's funny? And my dad doesn't listen to podcasts, so I don't give a fuck, and he wouldn't even care anyway. There's one time we were like in a restaurant. My dad seems to like yell over. If it's loud, he will talk louder. And we got in a conversation about polygamy. And he's like, I think it'd be pretty cool. Like, if there's one wife that wants to like stay at home and like take care of the kids, and then one wife could work. And I was like, I was like in my early 20s.
Cool,
no, cool. I'm totally on board with this. Like, how many husbands does the wife get?
See, and that's also my point. That's fine too. Me and like it in that ideology, right?
You can be my Tuesday husband. Yeah, I'm gonna go get me a Wednesday.
Either way, it like I don't care what people do. like in polyamorous amorous relationships or whatever. Like it is like, but it was just funny. And I was like, you know, what guy doesn't want that? But then secretly they don't, because when it actually happens, they're going to blow their brains out and then all the women will get along and then they'll be happy without the husband.
Most men can't handle a single woman.
That is
How the
true.
fuck are you going to juggle 6?
That is true.
Yeah, I know. So in August 1887, the couple married in a small stone Catholic church. We said they spent their year apart, which is also a strange thing to me, with the whole Catholicism and the religion of like, you know, and the woman has to kind of adapt to the male's version of what like life is.
Well,
and,
in
like,
a lot of farming
following suit.
in a lot of farming societies, the reason dowries existed is because women were considered a burden because they weren't farm
Yeah, they're
hands.
fucking paying in the hole. Like, to be fair, yeah, I know they're paying the fucking arse.
Yeah, I tend to agree at some points.
They existed to cook and to produce more farm hands. That was
And children.
That's what.
Oh yeah. Because they're like, how
she
many
was
kids
just
do we
giving
have?
No, she's actually shitting out hands that have farms on them.
That's such a good point, because that's what happened. Is they were like, oh, like, you know, we need more people to work on the farm. How many can you push out while also at the same time tending to those children, and then while trying to cook and clean and keep the house clean while I go to work, and then after work I'm like spending 4 hours at the fucking bar.
Oh no, they're not going to
At
work.
home,
They're
you know,
working their fields. That is their work. And B, juggle all of that with the complication of not dying during childbirth.
Yeah. Unless you just stab him in the head during childbirth. I don't know why that care. Even after Michael and Bridget
Weird
moved in
segue, but
together,
okay.
she often did things like making home deliveries on her own. A lot of the reports said that her husband didn't like that very much, but it didn't stop her from venturing out on March 4th, 1895, to deliver some eggs to her father's cousin, Jack Dean.
So here's a question, right?
Yeah.
Now, maybe this is just my old school Irish brain kicking in, but just bear with me for a second now. Is there an argument here for burning her at the stake? Because you said there she would go out and make home deliveries on her own. Now, I pose a question. If your partner was going out and making home deliveries every day, on his or her own, what was she delivering? Was she delivering?
There were rumors of an affair, but they seem to be unfounded. But I mean, that just sounds like a shitty relationship not based on trust.
I feel like
I suppose the most logical thing to do then would be to burn her alive at the stake, wouldn't it?
No, of course. Yeah, but I would say either that or press her under a fuck ton of rocks. Would be the
Anton,
other logical
do you
thing.
think that we brought Aaron into our lives for a reason? Because on Strange Brew, right, how many times we've talked about like Irish like folklore and episodes and specials, and it seems like we kind of had a rope around Aaron.
Tom, shut up. What are the chances that he's a fae?
I know. What if we are?
Are you
fatty folk? But we've always done this stuff where we've like I had episodes written out
fucking
like
onto you
that are like like they were all like Irish before you even joined, right? We did all these specials, so it's an interesting thought process. So she was delivering eggs, and there is like questions about how maybe she was having an affair. The 3-mile walk would have been familiar to Bridget, so likely, you know, thought a little of a medieval earthen ring fort on, oh my God, Kyle Narganiga Hill.
Okay, hold on now.
Can you please
find this? I was gonna say, what's the deal with the fey rings and the fey forts? So I heard forts, but I didn't know if those are the same thing as a fairy ring, because a fairy ring is mushrooms, right? Or is it stone? Or does it depend?
Mushrooms.
Like here we have the mythology of both. We have either a circle of stones, a circle of mushrooms.
Yeah, like so, like you have like the mound or whatever, but there's all different ones. Like you have stone circles, there's ring forts, there's hill forts. As far as I know, there's probably like 15 or 20 different versions. Now, what all the subtle differences between all them are, I have No fucking idea.
Have you ever seen that one meme of the plastic backyard set for like a playground and stuff with a big old fairy ring of mushrooms around it? And it's like, see, this is what happens when you take iron out of children's toys.
I'm trying to find where this name of this thing is.
The first word is Kyle. Okay, Kyle Nagranaghh.
I can't even follow that. I'm fucking
Okay.
retarded, like so.
So can you type this in, Kyle? Pronounce this for me. Kyle.
Yeah.
Nagranaghh.
Or Kyle Nagrana.
What?
Kyle Nagrana.
Kyle Nagrana. All right.
Kyle Nagrana.
So a little fort of Kyle Nagrana Hill, she passed along the way, and a place too known as a fairy fort. Did you hear this in Ireland, though?
What?
Fairy forts.
Oh, yeah. There's like shit tons of them. Like we have a...
I'd love to go there.
Like within Ireland, we have a pretty famous... like a heritage park.
Yeah.
And like shit tons of people always visit that, and they have actual like different things there.
Seances?
Like, essentially, yeah, because you're being led around by some dude dressed in fucking robes, and you get to see like all the different versions of everything. But some of them, they are like, I suppose, reproductions of the things, but they've used actual pieces of. They moved them from other places, like to collect them all in one area.
What they should do is have a little person, attractive little person, you know, like some woman dressed in a fairy costume to lead you around.
Nude.
I would thoroughly enjoy that.
I'm just very much enjoying that you have drunk Bobby De Niro face going on right now. No, don't try and do it. It doesn't work. When you'll just do it on your own, and it'll make you smile.
There are estimated 32,000 medieval ring forts or fairy forts, such as these complex ones, in the county of Roscommon, scattered around Ireland today.
Wrong again.
Roscommon. Even in Ireland, modernization in the 19th century, superstition continued to thrive. In the early 1900s, one Sigelman of anthropologist, nothing is more certain than these fairies. The fairy folk. They
Can we do something fun right at the end of this episode? Can we bring up a map of Ireland with 32 counties, and I want you to say each one?
Okay. Nothing is more certain than these fairies, known as folklore as Aossi. How do you say this? Aossi. That's part of your tradition, bro. Aossi. Yep. The fairy folk.
Never heard of it.
Wow. You're like that Scottish guy we had on that didn't know anything about the Loch Ness. They're according to Irish folklore. Human-sized.
We don't talk about that guy.
Yeah, that living in the hidden world. Like humans, they can be generous. They can be bestowing in good favor on those who threaten them with that treat them with respect. If you threaten them, they'll fucking murder you. Like humans, they can be generous in all these different ways and good people. Just like me and Billy talked about, that they're not. They can be good or bad. They're much like humans. Or they can be evil and vindictive. Spoiling milk, damaging crops. Often, if something went wrong in the 19th century in Ireland, it was blamed on the fairy folks. The fairies were doing it. And the fairy forts, like the one that Bridget passed by on the Monday morning, were said to where they supposedly lived. Mayo, Galway, Clare, Limerick, Cork, Curry, Waterford, Wexford. It's hard to say. Aaron brought up the stupid fucking map.
What's happened?
I didn't even add that to it. How did you add that? Crazy. Anton, you are muted.
Oh, I added that. I said you can't start with County Mayo. That's the easiest one.
I thought Aaron did this.
No, I did. That's why I was saying don't pull it up till the end of the episode, but here we are.
Oh, well, it added by itself, so.
Oh, it shouldn't have. I thought
Jesus
I was just setting it up for the
Christ. I
queue.
didn't want to edit any of this. So, and I heard that you like in like Irish tradition, you guys would you put milk on your porch. You would have like certain things that you guys would do to like stop the fairy folk from like taking your children away to turn them into retards.
Yeah, and it's funny because now we've evolved to become like much of the rest of the first world, where we have to worry about like junkies poking us with needles and like. So it's cool.
Yeah.
We don't have any of that cool stuff anymore. Now we get to worry about those fun things instead.
Is it a reoccurring problem? Because that's always just been a myth out here.
Which?
The junkies poking people with needles.
Yeah, probably. It was just something I brought up.
Oh. I was like, is that a thing going around?
Fucking scumbags like slashing each other with knives and shit. A dude was attacked like on our main street a day ago at 9 a.m. with a hammer.
Well, see, the problem is y'all ain't got nearly enough guns, and that's why you're getting hammer attacks. You got to increase your guns so you don't get hammer attacks. You just get shootings.
So now I'm going to get two hammers.
Yeah. I truly believe in the Second Amendment. We're not going to talk about this on this episode, but I can show you a song that fucking definitely points out the hypocrisy of what's going on and trying to. I would rather live in a country that has the Second Amendment. And if there is some sort of mass shooting, you would have enough people armed to take down that mass shooter.
By that same logic, Tom, the only thing that beats a bad person in a dress is a good person in a dress.
Do you have a gun license?
I am a clinically depressed person. I will not buy a gun.
No. Do you know I know the stipulations and stuff you have to go through in.
I don't want one.
Okay, I'm saying I know what you have to go through to get a gun, even in the States.
Some places in the States, there are plenty of places that you don't have to go through anything. And I should say, I'm not anti-gun. I've shot many guns, and I enjoy it. I don't want to own a gun because it'll make something way too easy.
No, you don't need to do anything. You need to love each other. Big hugs. Throughout the early medieval Ireland, protective earthly and stone ring forts were often constructed around settlements, and they were also abandoned over time, and the settlements within disappeared. The ring walls became home to folklore. Today, the forts still dot the Irish countryside and continue to associate with misfortune. In 2017, an Irish politician even blamed road damage on nearby fairy forts.
Don't you remember when that happened? Like there was some fuckery with the construction site, and they basically were like, "Yeah, you disturbed the earth."
Do it in an Irish accent. Be the politician, Dan.
All right, now we are.
That's not what I wanted.
This counts as an Irish accent. It's a distant one, but it's relative. It is kin to the Irish accent. There's some fuckery afoot on this here road. It's awfully close to some fairy circles.
Actually, I like that.
There's a fort. We disturbed it. I told them not to tear up the earth. They went ahead, and here we are.
And they shot me in my head.
No, that was my brother John. They shot me in the chest.
By Sirhan, that was very susceptible.
Some weird MK Ultra person came up and plugged me 6 times and then didn't remember. I actually myself don't remember if it was 6 times or not, but I'm going with it.
In the 16th century.
And I had my daughter lobotomized because she was weird. There's a joke entity for you.
In locals, if you walk too close to these fairy circles, you may get snatched by fairies. They would often take young children or pretty women. It was believed that fairies had trouble producing children on their own sometimes, so they would take pretty mortals to embody their line.
Honey, we're not taking women. I don't know who told you that, but it's a lie.
Instead, fairies leave behind a changeling, as we've talked about before, a fairy made to resemble a stolen person. A changeling could be identified by their strange actions, like actually falling sick, or looking slightly different from the human they replaced. And Michael literally thought that his wife was 2 inches taller than before. And that was one of the reasons.
It really does seem like he was just like, yeah, I'm fucking tired of her.
Yeah.
A lot of the accusations according to being accused being a changeling, were more educated women. So if you're more educated, you were probably a changeling. And often, as I've said before, it was usually someone who was mentally ill or suffered deformities, where they would claim that their kids were a changeling. Did you ever hear about this stuff, Aaron?
Yeah, like you would always hear stories of things like that, but I don't know if I ever, when I was younger, I don't know if I ever actually believed any of it. I always kind of put it in the category with, you would be told shit like, oh, the banshee lives up on that mountain, and if you hear dogs howling at night, that means the banshee is on her way, and all this fucking shit. Some of it I used to be genuinely terrified by, but then there was others that I kind of just classified as like, okay, they're just like adding this story just to make it seem like more scary or whatever.
Do you believe that the fairy folk could exist? Because I kind of do. I think it's possible that elementals and beings like that could exist beyond our eyesight.
I like to think of them as ultra dimensionals. If they're
Mm.
anything, I like to think that it's just, maybe there's a tear in reality that they can slip through or something.
I'd like a cool little action figure sized guy to go around on my shoulder.
Yeah, it'd be fucking
That'd be fun.
awesome.
That'd be
When he
fun.
goes up to people and he like fucking pokes them with needles so they pass out, and then you can do whatever you want to them.
That sounds pretty cool.
Isolate the sound clip.
Yeah, take nothing seriously. So obviously, fucking, they were successful. Like any empowered women, it could be that they didn't necessarily fall in line with their husbands. Maybe like they're being accused of being a changeling or accused of witchcraft a lot of the times. The changelings and the witch are just another branch of this idea of what this scholar says. Both were means of punishing women who stepped outside of their societal norms. Women like Bridget Cleary. The changeling and the winch, the changeling and the witch are just another branch. When Bridget returned from delivering eggs on Monday, March 4th, she couldn't seem to get warm. The next day passed when she was shivering in her bed, complaining of a raging pain in her head. According to some people's accounts, over the next few days, her condition worsened, and Bridget's father walked 4 miles in the rain to fetch a doctor. Because back then, you didn't have to wait 3 hours for an ambulance. You'd have to walk to get a doctor.
Do you think that she was just cold and tired and kind of sick, and her husband just kept wanting to fuck? And she's like,
Yeah,
I've got
probably.
the worst fucking pain in me head, and if you don't get that fucking stupid prick out of my face.
Why
Yeah,
do you
I
guys
would
say
imagine
me?
so.
It's just such a bad pain in me head.
Ugh. I mean, it's getting there. It's getting a little closer.
There's such a pain in me head.
Like now we're on some weird, like undiscovered island out in the middle of the ocean somewhere.
I
But
goddamn love to fuck a
in that
fairy.
direction. We're going
You
in
know
that
what
direction.
I would like? I would like for a leprechaun to fuck me in my
That
arse.
don't even sound like that. Actually, that arse bit was. You're getting there.
Michael had become increasingly concerned for his wife's welfare. I'm sure he did, and began to look for some supernatural cause for her illness. According to
Did
his
you say
later
supernatural cause?
Yeah, you did. How much of that Tomcat 12 of you drank?
A proper amount.
Proper amount. According to his later testimony recorded in the give me a sec. Chelsea?
That shit will poison you as well. Proper 12.
Can you
So,
hear her
my,
fucking blow drying her hair?
No.
Thank God.
My friend Tyler and I were at the bar the one night, and we wanted JMO, and we drank the rest of the JMO because there was only like a splash or two left in it, and all they had was that behind the bar. and it was not good.
So they went to fetch the doctor. He couldn't come. Michael tried to fetch him twice before the doctor finally arrived, 9 days after Bridget had fallen ill. He diagnosed her with nervous excitement and slight bronchitis. Nervous excitement, is that a diagnosis? I'm just slightly nervous.
Give us an example of nervous excitement.
I'm so excited, but I'm nervous.
What's wrong with you? We're gonna have to burn him at the stake because
that's all right. I've fucking grown tired of his ass.
But I also have bronchitis, so I'm like, so excited.
It's like fucking transformation scene out of The Fly or some shit. I'm just waiting for all the shit to fall out of your mouth. You go,
Later that afternoon, a priest gave Bridget her last rites in case, which is crazy that a priest showed up and was like, all right, I'm going to read your last rites because you seem kind of sick, and I just need to do this in case you do die. Michael had become increasingly concerned for his wife's welfare and began to look at supernatural causes for her illness. According to his later testimony, recording in the academic journal Folklore, Michael claims to claim that Bridget was 2 inches, as I said, taller and too fine to be his wife. She is just too goddamn sexy. Why is she so sexy? I don't understand it. She was not that beautiful when I saw her yesterday.
This is like the descent of Tom.
I'm having.
It's like who's that dude? The Bjork killer dude that made all those videos of himself before he sent that like letter bomb thing to her and trying to kill her.
Oh yeah.
He ends up shaving his head and he's like putting paint all over his face. He's like slapping himself in the face and then he blows his head off with a revolver.
You seen this hairdo, man? I'm trying to grow my hair out slowly.
I think you might be onto something there, Aaron.
Okay, so 2 inches taller. I wish my dick could be 2 inches less because I wouldn't hurt people so much, you know. So, well, it's a well-versed person in fairy lore. It spurred on Michael's suspicion, telling him, "It's not your wife in there." Adun urging Michael went to the local fairy doctor because according to this guy, there was literally doctors that have, there's a fairy doctor. He knows exactly what's going on. Dennis Garney for a herbal cure. That night, as men pinned her down, Michael forced Bridget to drink the bitter concoction. "Take it, you witch, I'll kill you," to drive the fairy out. They threw urine on her and threatened her with a hot poker.
Hen's urine and hen shit. It was meant to be like a ward. So the hot poker was because A, iron, B, fire. 2 things that fairies are weak to.
Are you fucking serious?
Yes, that's hilarious. I thought that's like saying, you know, if I have a loaded fucking AR-15, I point at your head and you're scared of it, you're obviously a witch, so I'm gonna have to shoot you in the head.
It always reminds me of that scene in Harold and Kumar, The Trip. Bullets, my only weakness. How did you know?
Yeah, like this.
It's fucking like
that's fucking weird.
Oh yeah.
They threw piss on her.
Yeah.
And then said, like, "Are you a fairy?" What?
There's people that pay for that shit now.
Some people get paid to do that shit.
What movie is it? Horrible Bosses, where the guy, like, they think that he's coming to murder them, and he lays out a sheet and he like pees on them instead because they hire someone to kill the boss. And then it's like, you're supposed to be in recreational sports, like you're supposed to like. Aren't you the murderer?
Oh, they mixed up water sports for wet work.
Water sports, and they think that they're talking about like killing somebody.
Wet work is what's known as doing it.
He's like, wet work, like they're spraying him up, and then it's like this guy lays out a sheet. Yeah. And he's like, "So who's first?"
Yes, wet work does mean murder. Water sports, on the other hand, are something else entirely, and we're not talking about water polo.
She seemed wild and deranged. According to the testimony of her cousin, Janae Burke, by the end of the night, however, a quiet A quiet. It seemed, maybe in this cottage where they lived, it was quiet. Something weird was going on. Michael was satisfied with his exorcism. He was like, "All right, maybe she's not a fairy anymore." In the morning, for the first time in nearly 2 weeks, Bridget dressed in her typical fashion, in her normal clothes, which I do believe that she was at the hands of a lot of this torture, in my opinion, and that she was like, they were torturing her, and she finally kind of snapped. And even though she may have been sick and may have had a fever and all the stuff that was happening to her, like biologically, she
No,
was like sick.
the doctor said she had fucking bronchitis. That like everybody else confirmed it. The only person who thought she was a fucking fairy was her husband.
The
But bear
only
with me,
person.
right? Bear with me here, right? You said she started to dress in her normal attire again. So maybe, right? Maybe, just hear me out, that she was making these home deliveries, and she was dressed in like fucking leather straps and like assless
Scantily
chaps and
clothed.
shit. And maybe this is why he was like, this bitch is cheating on me. I'm gonna have to fucking perform an exorcism on her and then piss on her and beat the fuck out of her and burn her.
I swear to God, the last time she kissed me, I tasted Seamus's dick. There's no way she's not cheating.
I can do the action, but I was like, I know that Seamus's
Oh,
dick
God.
tastes like this. Old cigars and whiskey. Do you not agree that Anton's accent is kind of on par?
I do, yeah, but yours is like all over the place. You
I
have like
can't
little
fucking do it.
glimmers.
I've
You
never
have little
claimed to do
glimmers.
accents.
You have little glimmers of it, and then I'm like, wow, where is this? Who framed Roger Rabbit?
Me and Billy literally tried to do an Irish accent on the episode, and we looked it up. Irish.
Oh
Irish.
God, nope.
Okay, do a Canadian accent. I dare you.
I can't. That you see, I won't even try. I don't even see. Right. So for me, I don't see a massive difference. Like I said, now I know you guys said you're a lot closer than you would think, but I never really noticed a huge difference between a Canadian accent and an American accent. Obviously, I know there's different, like, you've got the accents in New York or down south, and there's variations there, but just like your bog standard accent, I never really noticed a massive amount of difference.
So
Maybe
more
pronunciations of a handful of words. But other than that, I
So
never really...
Anton's offensive accent is fine with you.
So more often than not, like, you got to listen for certain letters, like at least with the weird Western world accents. So like where I'm from, our A's are fucking out of control. Like there's a sentence that I could find that I could read you and you'd be like, oh shit, that's an accent. With Tom, it's O's.
See, now I wouldn't. I just. I feel like, say, if I didn't know you guys, and if I listened to the show without any context of like where either you guys were, I'd just assume and be like, oh, they're both in America. I wouldn't even.
I could see
I
that.
don't think I'd be able to like pull the difference and be like, oh yeah, he's clearly like Canadian.
So
back to Ireland.
ready.
Tom, say
Yes.
out and about.
I'm going out and about.
Okay, yeah,
I heard it. I heard it. And we don't say a boot. I say about. About where you can hear it, because I 100% agree that there is. It's not
the Newfies say a boot.
Newfies say a boot. We only like, and then fucking goddamn. I'm out and about.
Yeah, you're fucking trying to church it up too much there, Dirt.
Church it up. So it's great. She dressed normally, right? Typical fashion, whatever that is. So what does she wear? Like Aaron's point. What is she wearing when she's not, like, you know what I mean? Burke. Yeah, she's wearing she's wearing like a full-on leopard skin like fucking thong. It's like, do you want your milk, boys?
Get on some of mommy's milk, and then he comes out with a fucking steak screaming with a pitchfork.
Yeah. Get a little bib. Burke later recounted that afternoon, several relatives came over for tea. But when Bridget asked for milk, Michael's paranoia reignited. Fairies are said to crave milk. I wanted the milk. Michael again took up his interrogation. Bridget told him, "Your mother used to go with the fairies, and that is what you think that I am." Michael grew in. He got angry and forced Bridget to eat the several pieces of bread before throwing it to the ground. So she was like throwing up and like and even in I will shout out that there was an episode of Lore where they showed the whole folklore around this story, and it was fairly good, and they shoved like the bread down her throat, and she's sick at the time, according to the history of what we know, and she's like spitting it out, forcing Bridget to eat several pieces of bread before throwing it to the ground. He tore her clothing and then grabbed a hot stick of fire and set the fabric alight. He literally like, tried to light his own wife on fire. James Candy, a relative, yelled, "For the love of God, don't burn your wife." Can you do that again, Anton, for me?
For the love of God, don't burn your wife.
That sounds amazing. On point. "She's not my wife," he replied. "She's an old deceiver sent in the place of my wife." Later that night, he buried her in a shallow grave about a quarter-mile from their cottage. Michael spent the next 3 consecutive nights waiting on that Kyle Hill. Can you do it again for me, Aaron? Kyle Nagrana here.
Kyle Nagrana
Hill for the fairies to return the true Bridget. So this motherfucker killed his wife. Get this, okay? And then waited.
You left out a good chunk there.
Did I?
Yeah, you didn't mention the fact that he grabbed a fucking lamp and poured oil all over her several times.
Sounds like a pretty cool guy.
What do you mean you're getting to it? She's fucking dead. No, you didn't.
Like I said, get to it.
Oh. Yeah, no, and he basically just completely fucking roasted her and continued to burn her. He left out the pegging part, yes. So the lore was that she should be like returned by the Fae folk. She would be riding on a gray horse or a white horse, but she would be bound, and somebody had to wait on the hill with a super sharp knife to cut the reins of the horse. So due to what happens to him in court when all this shit goes down, and obviously we got to be getting to it, but
yeah, we're almost at the end.
Like it is possible from the stories that this dude also just fucking lost it and actually believed in the Fae.
He lost his mind.
Maybe he was actually mentally ill and he should have been fucked into an asylum or something.
Oh yeah, he was definitely the Fae and should have been tossed into the asylum where people would pay 2 bits to take a bit of his game.
Wouldn't that be a good like flip where he was actually the one who was that, and he was like, "It's fucking her. Everyone focus on her while I go and do whatever I'm doing."
Methinks the lady doth protest too much.
At any moment, he believed that she would come galloping through the ring on a white horse. So it's crazy because he believed he would sit at this hill that he believed that fairies. So this motherfucker, listen to this, that this motherfucker that believed that his wife was a changeling and that his wife was possessed by the fairy folk would sit at a hill that supposedly was claimed to be an inhabitant, like a place where the fairies would be. He would sit there, probably drinking on fucking whiskey, believing that he would see his wife gallop through the ring on a white horse.
Yes, because the creature he killed was not his wife. It was a physical being impersonating his wife. His wife was just taken to the land of the Fae.
And she would return home with them together forever. That is fucking bananas. But the authorities came first. Wednesday, March 28th, the police arrested 8 people for their involvement in Bridget's death. After a highly publicized 2-day trial in July 1895, Michael was charged with manslaughter. Jack Doone, Patrick Boland, and 4 of Bridget's cousins were also found guilty. Today, scholars still wonder whether Michael was driven by the belief that fairies had taken Bridget. He was a literal and relative. He was relatively well-to-do, so he was literal, as they say, and well-to-do. He understood English. He could read. He was intelligent.
Literate.
Literate, yes. Well, his wife fell
What
sick.
Tom is not.
Not after this much whiskey. Hey, I can still read. He initially sought the help of the doctors, and that it kind of seemed like the actions of somebody who was less suspicious. Bridget, likewise, may have not believed in fairies, says Irish studies scholar Ellen Sheebel of the Bridgewater State University, though their community certainly did. Michael and Bridget probably would have not even participated in this kind of fairy culture or folklore if he did not believe it. You could imagine a lot of the resentment and maybe concern about people and their role in this community, given their status and possibly shunning of local beliefs, as some of these scholars point out, of their issues between Michael and Bridget and their independence outside of the normal society, which could lead to his murder of his wife, the murder of his wife, to cover up the story of the fact that he actually did not like that his wife was outspoken and an independent woman.
Dun, dun, dun.
But Michael Cleary did not act alone. The exorcism and murder were the actions of the community, specifically men in that community, that involved Bridget's murder. And maybe they were trying to find a way to fucking punish Bridget, who maybe was a woman who was kind of ahead of her time.
That might be the most progressive thing I think I've ever heard you say.
I say a lot of progressive shit. Fuck off.
Because you name progressive,
is literally a fucking feminist.
Because
I
you
believe in feminism because I think it's a fucking shell also.
Because you name off progresso soups does not make you progressive.
Progressiveness leads into authoritarianism.
Does it now?
Does it? I don't know anything I say.
What happened to Michael? What happened to Michael? What was his penalty? What happened? Tell us.
Can you tell me?
Michael received 20 fucking years with hard labor. He did 15 of them, and then he became one of you.
Yeah, because he did undergo a mental evaluation.
A mental evaluation in the 1800s, which was basically like, well, he's not a woman, so we'd say he's sane.
You know what? I'm kind of sad that Aaron took so long to be part of this episode because I drank too much. This is your fault. She became a landmark in Ireland at the time of the modernization, rapidly and frightening independence of England. Okay, so sad.
Saint Beverly ain't taking no shit from no fucking man.
So yeah, essentially, women should be vindicated for the things they believe.
Murdered if they talk back or do anything wrong, or if you just feel like you just don't want to put up with her anymore, you just stab her to death and just burn her.
Stick her in the bin.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. Can I say 100%? I'm kind of drunk.
You don't say. It's a good St. Patty's episode. Tom's pissed.
You know what? I had this ready too.
Hit it. It's the end of the episode. Hit it.
Yeah, you need to for the end.
I need to like her.
You know, fucking join you cunt.
Aaron, you did not like my Irish accent? So this chick, okay, what do we think? She was burned alive for being a fairy, for essentially going against his fortitude of what he thinks is like a real legitimate reason.
In theory. Or the dude just had a complete mental break.
Even if
he wept openly, he wept in open court. Apparently, like he didn't he actually, from what the court record said, he actually thought the fairies were gonna bring her back, and when they didn't, he was like, "Oh no, what the fuck?" Like it sunk into him being like, "I just murdered my wife."
To me, what I've read is that he was actually sad that he believed in his weird psychotic mind. Think about it, Aaron. If you're drinking a maybe 26er of whiskey a day, okay? Because back then, who knows what the fuck was happening? And your wife is like going against you, and she's delivering eggs, and it's like, why can I see her ankles? while she's delivering eggs. Why is that a thing? Why? I can see her elbows. She shouldn't be delivering eggs where I can see her elbows. Okay? And then he gets mad and he's like, how do I get away with murder? Oh,
Well, you see, and I feel like as well, and definitely here back then, there definitely would have been a degree of like, the men would probably get around wherever they would meet and whatever, and like everybody would be of the same mind. So like I think back then, and even like in maybe more recent times in Ireland, it was very like the men thought about things a certain way and the women thought about things a certain way. So I think it would be very easy as well in his position if he did genuinely start to believe some of this stuff. I would imagine whoever was around him was probably like, yeah, that fucking bitch. You need to fucking sort her out quick. And it would probably just snowball from there. And you go, yeah, you're right. I do need to throw oil on her and burn her and beat the shit out of her.
It does sound like everyone else that was involved, though, from the research I was doing on it. It sounds like everyone else, when that occurred, was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like they were all like humoring him up to a certain point, and then it just became like, "Oh no, what have we gotten involved with?"
The lore episode I watched, it does show in a well formatted thing, at least in the video aspect of it, is that it showed how he was convinced in his own mind that his wife wasn't something she said she was, but is that his own delusion and her and his own family was against what he thought and was doing. Because like I watched the lore episode, I made fucking Chelsea watch it, and it is entertaining, but at the same time, this was a real thought process of that they were literally going out of their way to burn her. And then when he started to actually do that, out of she's going to show herself as a fairy, everyone else in the room, because they lived with, I think his parents, everyone freaked out. Everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Does this happen often in Ireland? Is it people getting burned on the stake,
No, I wish it did. Like, I wish when we got sick of a woman, we could just fucking throw oil on him and burn him at the stake. Just get rid of him.
Burn him down. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that was the 1400s that everybody was burning everybody because more or less, like at least the Salem witch trials were all hangings or crushings or drownings.
To be honest, I don't really see a Strange Brew podcast somewhat of a St. Patty's Day, I don't know, special episode, whatever you want to call it, without some fun. I'm fucking high as fuck now. I'm drunk and I'm fun. I'm having fun.
Is it there?
7:15, and I have to still go to work tomorrow. It's a Wednesday.
You got to go to woke tomorrow?
I got to go to woke tomorrow. I got to learn about lessons of how to be inclusive and make sure everyone knows that they're loved.
Tom, are you actually going to take my advice on be better?
I'm not going to build better.
I want you to be better.
Be better.
I want you to
do me
better.
a favor. When we sign off this podcast, can you like, I don't know, from your phone or whatever, go live on Twitch and then just show us Chelsea's reaction when you fall out of the room high and drunk?
Look at me. Okay. What do you want me to do?
Gonna know. She's gonna know. You walking out of that room being like, "Hey, baby, I'm brand new." Not gonna happen.
She knows.
You're gonna walk out and be like,
that's part of my shtick. Okay. I come outside. I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" She's like, "You're high as fuck," and I'm like,
"Hey, I'm out of my fucking mind."
Am I high? No. Am I? Give me a simple math question. 2 + 2 is 4.
An episode.
Oh wait, this is the fucking time. Now he has to name off the counties.
Okay.
Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's a good way to sign off.
Pull it up.
Okay, I'm waiting.
It's ready. Just pull it up.
No, I can't. It's a gray screen. Gray. Okay. All right. Zoom it in. All right. I know that's dongle. Dongle.
What's this?
Dongle.
What's this?
No,
No,
you have to do
point to
it in
the
order.
point to the ones that I am.
Londonderry. Antrim.
No, look for the ones where Anton has the.
Do you see where my cursor is?
Roscommon. It's like Russian.
And Aaron, you got to give the corrections.
Okay.
Okay, can we start from the top? Let's just do the
So
top.
Roscommon is right.
Okay, no, go from the top and then over. Dungle. Londonderry.
Dungle, no, that's Donegal.
Why is it Donegal?
Donegal. I've
Okay.
heard that pronounced like on there's a lot of like YouTube videos about like haunted places in Ireland, and I always hear referred to Donegal, which is also incorrect.
Okay. Londonderry.
That's not where my cursor is.
No, I'm going from the top to the bottom. I don't care. I'm gonna do every single name before I do.
God. He's against the party, remember?
Yep.
Londonderry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Antrim.
Yep.
Tyrone.
Yep.
What? Down.
Best shot. Give it your best shot.
Fernmangai.
Fermanagh.
Okay, I can see that. English.
So before we move on to that, right? I don't know if you noticed the red line.
Uh-huh.
Does anyone know the significance of that?
Is that the Northern Ireland line?
Yes.
That's where the British own you.
Yep.
Mangain.
Where are we?
Monaghan?
Manam.
Oh, Monaghan.
Monaghan. Okay, so you do the
Okay, that's the super soft G. That's good to know.
arm. I'm serious. Marta.
Fuck would I want a caravan with no fucking wheels?
Arm. Okay, come on. Okay.
Is that correct?
What did he say?
Arm.
Armagh.
Yeah, I do. Okay, next one. It rhymes with syndrome.
Right here. No, you already said down, dipshit.
You made my joke relevant, okay? Luth.
Loud.
So you're doing it. I was gonna say. I was like, you're doing it Vietnamese.
You are too drunk to drive. I'm piloting this ship. Just do as I say.
Keep going. Sling. Okay, go up the corner. Sligo.
Sligo. Yeah.
Okay. No, you have to go in order. Anton.
No, I'm not giving you the easy ones.
I can't do it. My brain
not giving you the easy
in.
ones. Do the hard ones.
Galloway. Guys, I can't. Yeah. I don't know what that says. Awfully.
Awfully. Yeah.
Awfully. Okay, fucking
close-ish. Awfully.
You're saying it more Canadian and more English than what I would actually say it. Okay. Just do another one. I see. Where's your cursor going? Okay. You know what I think? I think of Vietnamese, I'm like a Laos.
No. Leash.
What?
In what fucking world?
ALOIS.
Yep.
Leash.
What?
So the A and the O make an E, and the I and the S make an ish?
So that's a direct. If you notice there underneath each of those, there's the Oscuelga, the Irish.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make sense.
Version, and that one is the exact same. So that's like a Gaelic.
It doesn't make sense.
It's like a direct translation. So some of the pronunciation is like completely different than what the word actually is.
Why does the one under Wexford look like it says Loch Saruman?
It actually says it does actually. Yeah,
I spent too much time watching that shit.
There's the Wexford crest.
I honestly during this episode. I was
Oh, that's
going,
awesome. Fuck yeah.
What soccer shirt are you wearing, bro?
I literally wore it because I was keeping my Irish shit for the live, so I was like, I'm not gonna
wear the soccer team that I love. Because soccer, you guys love football, right?
I don't. But yeah, people.
Why are you wearing the shirt then?
No, this is our hurling team. You ever heard of hurling before? No.
No, but they're
it would be fun.
They're a soccer team, right?
No, it's hurling. It's a sport with a stick
Hurling?
and a ball.
Is it the fucking dude that goes like this?
That's a shot put.
No, it's in a second. Just really quickly, Google hurling.
I'm gonna pull up hurling on DuckDuckGo, and it's just gonna be people throwing up.
Yeah. What is hurling? Is that not like shot put?
How have you never heard?
Like it's losing. That's shot put.
I can't believe you've never heard of this shit.
Irish hurling stick.
What? This looks.
Oh, it's like lacrosse.
So it's like people beat the shit out of each other just to.
Yeah, it looks like fucking Irish lacrosse to me.
That's so funny. Oh, what is this? Is this
once again furthering the proof that what's the difference between Irish and native people? Corn and potatoes.
Is this a full contact sport?
Yeah. Like
it's a fucking tag sport where they pull flags off of each other.
We can't do anything. Like hockey now has been ruined because the best part of hockey is
hockey has been ruined. The fights aren't there anymore.
Hockey. I'm Canadian. Don't like hockey. Never watch it. My dad and my brother are super into it, like hardcore into hockey. And my brother used to play hockey, and the only reason why I went was to see him get into fights.
Hardcore hockey is Tom's Pornhub category.
I don't like hockey, but fights, man, that's the whole reason why I made it interesting me when I was a kid. I was like, all right.
It's just dudes in jock straps beating the shit out of each other on the ice.
They have helmets on and they can skate. I'm a Canadian. Can't skate at all. I can't skate.
You're an embarrassment to your people.
I can't.
Why does it look like you put Vaseline over your camera?
It's not funny. I did this on purpose. Can you guys skate? Just curious.
No, not really.
I bet Anton can skate better than both of us.
Oh, I can skate. Yeah. Spur.
All right. Well, last final. All right. Bye, Aaron.
So long, everybody.
This was fun.
What time was it?
We'll see you live.
We'll see you live Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday.
Join us, because last time Tom got way too drunk, and it might happen again, and that would be wonderful.
No, if I did it tonight a little bit, I'm not doing it.
Oh, yeah, you are? Bullshit. You're not fucking... Shh. No, we're drinking on Thursday. I'm off Friday. We are drinking on Thursday.
Aaron, you remember those cans that I said I was drinking that were truly empty? Who knows? There's a big
now they're full of fucking wet work.
I won't be drinking anything. It'll all be water.
Scumbag.
All right, everybody love everybody.
And remember, kids, alcoholism's no fucking joke. Don't be like Thomas out there. He's setting a bad example for all the wee folk and the children.